Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. For you, it is Thursday morning, 8 a.m. on the 9th of June. I hope the sun is shining on you. We are here to deliver a very special and, for the first time, Chatbox Productions Business Breakfast Show is being pre-recorded. Can you tell the difference? I don't think you can. Can you tell the difference, my friend?
No, not at all. Apart from I'm watching myself delivering this message to the world on Thursday morning. Now, why have we done this? I think is the question we should start off by answering. Well, it's still live and unscripted. Well, it's live to us. It's still unscripted. We're still doing it in the same way that we would do on a normal Thursday morning at 8 o'clock. But the problem Nick and I had, we both had to be in different parts of the country and delivering content to our customers at the exact time that we'd normally run Chatbox. So we thought, how can we do this? Well, the answer was to record it on a Tuesday afternoon, just after 5:30. That's what we're doing. Here we are on a Tuesday afternoon at 5:30. So hope everything we share with you comes to fruition. We can't predict the future, but we're going to try our best to predict what's going to happen on Thursday morning at 8 o'clock. So hopefully you enjoy the show. Please still put your comments into the chat box because we will be there. We will be keeping an eye on those and we will personally respond to all those comments, shout outs and hellos. And of course, by commenting in there, everyone else can see them as well, depending on the platform you're watching on. We're broadcasting to LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. We're still not back on Twitch. We're working on that and we will be back soon. So yeah, we broke Twitch. We know that. So anyway, welcome to the Chatbox Business Breakfast Show on Thursday, the 9th of June. And this week, it's all about Raving Fans. So Nick, you're there live Thursday morning, talking to your audience, your Raving Fans. What does Raving Fans mean to you? You've probably read this book once or twice, the Ken Blanchard, Raving Fans, great book. I dug it out off the bookshelf. But what's your experience of Raving Fans? What do you think it means to you and me and our listeners and viewers today?
So what a great week, mate. We've picked to have discussions about Raving Fans. Couldn't have picked a better week because the idea of fans, keeping them, losing them is all over the news, which we'll get to. For me, mate, if I'm on stage, I want my audience to be attentive. I want them to be engaged. I want them to feedback, be kind of interactive. And for that, they need to kind of appreciate what it is that I'm communicating, my concepts, my strategies, and all my clients generally think they've got to buy into me and the content and strategies that I work with. Right? And if they don't like the book, for example, they're not going to like me and my stuff. So generally, I work with people that get me and then really appreciate some of the value that I add to whatever it is they're doing. It could be at work, it could be at home, it could be both of those places. Without that, I haven't got a business.
No, absolutely. And of course, for you, no different to me. When I go onto stage to talk to an audience, talk about various different subjects, but typically around kind of technology and utilizing technology in business, I want to go up there and feel like I'm welcome to be there. So when I go up, I don't expect any big cheers and round of applause or, knickers being thrown at me like I'm Tom Jones or anything like that. But I want to be appreciated and hopefully people will love what I'm sharing with them. And you walk away with a round of applause. Have you ever, and I've never had this, but I'm going to ask you the question. Have you ever gone to somewhere to deliver content and walked up on the stage and been booed? There's method in my question of madness here, by the way, but I'm just asking you, has that ever happened to you? It's never happened to me. I've always got a warm welcome from my audience. Even though they don't know me, I just know that I'm going to get, a thank you for turning up at least.
Yeah, it would be awful, wouldn't it? It would be awful. Do it, you're there doing your best, and for whatever reason, you get booed. Man, no, but if that was the case, I've got to ask myself some serious questions. Why have I not won this client over? Why have I not won this audience over? What precedes me? What do they know about me that thinks that creates that kind of that wariness or that that antagonism? But that would be interesting. I'll let you know if when I walk up on stage on Thursday, if I get maybe people have seen the show, right, and they start booing. I've had people throw things at me. Right, squidgy stress balls aplenty. Yeah.
You invited the interaction, and I suppose there's a loaded question really, because I knew full well that you've never been booed going on stage, and I know with majority of speakers and presenters they don't get booed, but someone last week, someone we all know, maybe not personally, but we all do know, we all would recognise, did get booed, and well, it's been in the news quite a bit this week as well. In fact, last night, and for those watching, by the way, that would be 3 nights ago, he was there for a no vote of confidence. And yes, I am talking about our current Prime Minister, Mr. Boris Johnson. And we don't want to get political here because this is not a political show. And I don't know how you vote, Nick, or you probably don't know how I vote. We might have a guess, whether it's blue, red, green, regardless. It doesn't make any difference to what we're going to be talking about. But what I think it does make a difference about that last week, Boris Johnson at the Jubilee got booed by people outside. How must that feel? You turn up to go to an event and people are booing you on your way in. You've got to be pretty thick-skinned for that, haven't you?
It's a real tough one, and it opens up a can of worms, and the process was then afoot. When you lose the dressing room in sports, right? Managers don't hang around long, do they? You don't get, if your team stops playing for you, then it's time to reconsider your position. Hence the vote of no confidence, and the man in question, probably vague use of the word won that vote of no confidence, but it did leave a large proportion of people that are perhaps not backing him like they would have done.
Yeah, but this is his own team. Let's be honest. These are his own team. So imagine running a business. Let's bring this back, kind of link it into business. If you're running a business, you need everybody to work in unison. Everybody's got to be part of that team. You can't have 40%, over 40%, that don't agree with you, will not support you, and will boo at you. And that is exactly what's happened in his own party. He's got over 40% of his own backbenchers, his own his own team, who are basically kind of not got any interest anymore, are going to vote against him. So the question is, he's not particularly liked. He's not particularly impersonally, in my opinion, without getting political, doing a pretty damn awful job at the moment. Should he just resign and step out? Because if it's in the business world, that's what would happen. Your shareholders would remove you. Just like many in the past, for example, Steve Jobs was removed from his own organization, his own business, sacked. So it's to me, this is an awful place to be, that we've got a leader that can't lead. And I appreciate that's subjective, because some will probably be saying, well, no, he's a fantastic leader. But without getting political, he can't really lead, because if he was leading, he wouldn't have 40% of his own party trying to oust him out.
So I think from a business perspective, right, if you lose, it takes a lot of work to create a group of raving fans. Okay, so these are the people that are going to buy your product. These are the people that are going to come to your talks. They're going to be right there when you've got something new. They want to know about it and they're interested in it. All right, these are your best customers. Okay, and it takes a lot of work to create that environment. It doesn't take a huge amount of work to undo it, unfortunately. But in business, without that backing, you're really, really struggling. The high street would have found that. Okay, so the high street works really, really hard to generate raving fans. And then things happen other people come along, other businesses come along, and suddenly they're not as such big fans for this particular shop on the high street because they can get something somewhere else. They can get it cheaper. It's more convenient. It's on your doorstep next day. So there comes at a real cost losing those fans. And I guess it's incumbent on all of us and our businesses to make sure that we maintain that kind of fan base. Hence, we look after our customers. Customer service being a massive pivotal point, whether you walk away still a raving fan or actually things come untethered.
So let's talk about retail, because it's easy for most of us to kind of understand, and we've all been in that position. You want a product. Let's just take clothing as an example here. And you go to one of your favorite clothing stores, or you go to a clothing store. Why do you go there? What makes it an experience to maybe make you keep coming back? What makes you a raving fan of that particular store? Because it's not always about price. Quite often when I'm working with clients, I say to them, look, it's not about the price. You could be the cheapest, stack it high, sell it low. That's a business model, but is it sustainable? Probably not in most cases. But what you can be is you could be the most expensive, offer the most perceived value or the most value, and people will pay more because they love the way you offer it, the experience that you provide. So, for example, when you turn up at a store, it's, judging a book by its book cover, you do look at that store from the outside and you kind of go, okay, looks nice. It's tidy. It's clean. The windows, are not too shabby or anything like that. To me, that starts to draw you in. But when you enter that store, it could even be the most simplest thing, like the air conditioning's on, or during the winter months, it's, it welcomes you with a nice warm blast of air. And then it's the experience you start to pick up from there, the good morning, the good afternoon, the how can I help you? I'm here if you need anything. So to me, people are the ultimate customer service. Because if you don't have great staff, if you don't have a brilliant team, if you don't have someone offering that ultimate customer service that's part of the experience, everything could be tarnished immediately. If you walk in and they're sitting there on their phone, I've seen it, we've all experienced it, and they don't even look up and acknowledge you like good morning, you kind of think, I'm not even being appreciated. I'm coming here, want to spend money, buy something, but you don't even know I'm here. So what does it mean to you as our listeners and viewers? What makes a great experience for you? Do put it into the chat. We will be monitoring this, but I'd love to know what you think makes a great experience. For me, great customer service is ultimately important. I'll pay more for something if I'm going to get looked after and treated like a VIP, but everyone should be a VIP as well.
Yeah, and it really comes into its own, right? When things don't go according to plan. Okay, so if everything's fine and dandy, okay, then you don't necessarily question the customer service. But when things aren't necessarily how you expect them to be, then that's the point where your customer service has got to step up. Your people have got to step up. Your policies, your strategy, how you look after those potential fans of yours need to step up. 2 experiences already on this very young week, my friend.
We're only on Tuesday. I mean, Thursday.
I know. 2 experiences. Okay. I took something back to Screwfix yesterday. Brilliant. Right. No problem whatsoever. Had the receipt. Didn't need the receipt, right? It's all on your account. What's the problem? No worries. We've got another one of those in stock. We'll give you back, right? Whatever you've brought, whatever doesn't work for you, we'll replace it.
Great.
Brilliant. No qualms, no questions. Actually, I walked in and the bloke said, "What have you done?" I thought, well, I'll tell you what I've done. I've taken this off the wall. Brilliant. Exchanged the product. And would go back, of course. Great experience.
So that's a great experience.
Great experience.
Service, well looked after. Nothing was a problem.
Raving fan, well done, Screwfix, right? 5 stars. Go on, let's all go on social media. Yeah. Okay. And then my lovely wife took a product back to CEX today. If you don't know CEX, they're the ones who sell secondhand DVDs, secondhand phones, secondhand load of tech stuff. Bought a phone, didn't really meet expectations at the time. No problems. Bring it back. Any issues? Bring it back. Took it back, and at that point, she was told, "Oh, we only have a 2-day return policy."
2 days.
If we'd known that, mate, we wouldn't have taken the phone because it was not for her. It's for her dad, and we weren't going to see him. We weren't going to see him within the 2 days. So we weren't told that, right? Didn't deliver what we wanted to deliver. Took it back. You know what they did? So you can't, 2 days, too bad, right? So this is their offer, okay? And it might be in their, in their terms and conditions, but it's not creating raving fans. Their offer is, okay, we'll give you store credit to the tune of 50% of what it's worth, right?
Half what you paid for it 2 days ago.
Yeah. Or cash, right, to the tune of 35% of what it was worth. In other words, they buy it back, right, at 35% of the value that they sold it to us about, more than 2 days ago. Would we go back? Would we deal with them again? Not a chance. And now I'm on a a chat show globally talking about really poor response. What I don't care about your policies and stuff. Just have a conversation. Let's deal with real people, right? Let's do more than just what the very, very small print suggests you should do. So one experience, brilliant. One experience, not very good at all.
No, not good, because obviously we're talking about CEX. They do say when you have a bad experience, you tend on average to tell 16 people about the experience that you've had. Well, you're telling me at this time, and it's just you and I at this point, Nick. But of course, when this airs on Thursday morning, my God, it's reaching large numbers. So CEX, if you happen to pick this up, we will hashtag you into this and tag you on this show. Have a watch and then just realize that you really upset my co-host here, Mr. Nick Looby, and he's out to get you. And he will.
It might be. Look, it might be that. These are their terms and conditions. All right, that might be the case. I may have no leg to stand on. However, I'm really disgruntled because your terms and conditions are rubbish. All right, and I'm not a massive social media dude. Okay, but imagine if you'd upset someone who's got a massive following. What if I was
like a lot of people watch a chat show on a regular basis and on a global playing field as well. If you upset them, they could, say something about you on air. Obviously, non-slanderous as well, because obviously we're just reporting as journalists what's actually happening out there. So, CX, not a great experience. Do get in touch with Nick. He would appreciate his money back.
What a shame. What a shame. Okay,
and a bit of compensation to put into the charity pot as well.
But what a missed opportunity to create a raving fan, right? Like Screwfix stepped up raving fan, right? It's not going to cost them anything. Christ alive, it's one item, right? Let's put it into perspective. One item versus raving fans. If I can do something for my clients, okay, that even's going to cost me money, right, and take me out of my way, and it makes demands on me, but it will make my client really, really happy. I'm going to do it. That's business, right? That's how we run successful businesses.
Yeah. And as we're sharing stories about the good and the bad, and maybe we'll have some ugly stories as well very shortly. I want to share with you my good and bad stories. Again, typically around retail, two very different scenarios. But firstly, I'm going to talk about Amazon. Now, there'll be raving fans out there for Amazon, and I am a Amazon raving fan. Why? Because I cannot fault them. I've been using them for, it must be 10 years plus. I think my account, it was created in 2008, if I remember, if I look back. And I can honestly say, I've never had a bad experience. Never. Everything's turned up when I've ordered it. I think I had one delivery that never made it for the door for whatever reason, courier issue. But when I reported it, no problem, sir. We'll get it sorted. And next day it turned up. I've never been overcharged. I've never been undervalued as a customer. when I've had things that, and I haven't had that many returns either. I'm maybe not picky and fussy, but I've never returned loads of stuff. But I've had a couple of items that have not been perfect. I had one item actually, which turned up, it was broken. I phoned them up, no problems. We'll send another one out to you. Just take that one down to your local return depot, which was just a local convenience store. As soon as they scanned it, credit was applied, new product was on its way. And even when I was living in Spain, I bought a product in the UK. I phoned them up. It was over a year old. And I wasn't phoning them up to get a refund. I was just phoning them up to find out how I can now get this repaired. And they went, no problems. We'll replace it for you. It was out of its warranty period. But they obviously appreciate the business that I do place with them. And they sent out a new one and shipped it to Spain for me. Now, to just be clear here, Amazon are in Europe as well, but it was actually shipped out of their German distribution centre, where I actually got it originally from the UK one. I can't fault their service. So for me, Amazon, raving fan, love what they do. 9 times out of 10, they're on the money, give or take. I appreciate some people out there are not going to like them for their own reasons, their own stories. So there's my raving fan story. And I will continue to use Amazon and continue to line their pockets. But also, I must be clear, we spoke about this before, it's also small businesses as well, because lots of small businesses do sell their products via the Amazon portfolio as well. So, because people say, oh, you should support your local high street. I do when I can, but I can't buy half the stuff that I buy on Amazon from my local high street or even in my surrounding cities. Just to be very clear, I do support local and look after local businesses like I would.
I just see the FSB going. Is that our David Bell on the show today?
And that's kind of me just covering my own backside a little bit there, but it's truthful. Of course, I will support local business 100%.
So now, Amazon, you've had great experiences.
Thumbs up, Amazon. Right? Yeah. Now, Tesco's. Other supermarkets do exist, and we've all had experiences. But the reason I tell this story is because I felt awful afterwards. And you should never judge a book by its cover, because maybe you don't get the full picture. But let's just say I went into a Tesco's. I went to a self-service till, and there was a tag on an item. And I couldn't obviously leave without having that tag removed. There was a lady there, and she was busy nattering away to another colleague. When I kind of waved and said, excuse me, and I'm a very polite individual, she kind of got the come over. I said, look, I've just bought this. I said, can you take the tag off? She said, well, you have to pay for it first. I said, well, I know, but the tag's on, and when I put it onto the scales, it's mucking it all up. She said, no, you've got to complete the transaction, then I'll remove the tag for you. Well, you can imagine this was a bit of a debacle and a debate. Cut a long story short, I had a word or two to say. In the end, I had to somehow make the payment. She took the tag off, but I wasn't leaving it there, because the way she treated me, the way she spoke to me, it was like, I was a bit of mud on the bottom of her shoe. So I thought, no, look, I will give fairly when due, people pat on the back. That is 100%. If someone does something great, I'd go and say, you've done a great job. But on this occasion, I had to go to customer service and say, look, I'm just going to report this just in case someone else finds themselves in a similar situation. And they said, oh, that's a second complaint we've had about her today. We're only at 10 o'clock in the morning, I think. It was like, wow. Anyway, I left the store, went and got my car. When I drove back down, outside the store was this lady that I confronted, who I had a bit of a debacle with, I assume, her manager, and she was in a ball of tears. I drove down. She saw me. I saw her clearly through the windscreen. She was bawling her eyes out, and I felt absolutely awful. Now, I use Tesco's. It never put me off using them, but that one individual made my experience horrible that day. It was an experience that made me think about, should I be utilising them? Should I be going back to them? So the whole point is, individuals can really change your overall experience.
Mate, I have a surprise for you. As a special guest on the show, we have ex-employee of Tesco's coming on to the. No, she's not here. She's not here. But if whatever happens after that, unfortunate. But you've got to treat your customers. Okay, we don't know what's going on in the background, of course, but you've got to do your best for your customers. Okay. Not everyone's going to love what you do, but that's absolutely fine, right? But if someone is buying what you offer, right, they're buying into you, then you've got to do your best. Okay. Some people are kind of let's say some customers are not very nice. Okay. And given the chance, I like to work with nice clients, right? This is how we operate now. But generally, people are good, right? All of our small businesses, we know people are pretty good. Okay, so let's just treat each other really, really well, like humans. Okay, and if we do it well, we'll end up with a load of Raving fans. If we do it poorly, we'll struggle for business.
Yeah,
You've just got to do your best, right? And if you've got an amazing product, if you've got an amazing service and it's slick and it's innovative, then no surprise, you're going to have a load of Raving fans. Like Apple, for example, mate. You are, right? Forget Amazon. You are Apple's #1 fan, right?
I love Apple products. Absolutely. I'm a technologist. I love technology, but I love the way and what Apple do. And some will, say to me, David, no, Apple are not innovators. They copy everything people do. But I can prove that's not the case. Here we go. There we go. There is Apple working hard. There's Samsung having a look over and copying everything that Apple does. And Nokia sitting at the back, head in hands. What's next? Now, why do I like Apple so much? Well, I'm a raving fan of what they do. Why? Their product does what it says on the tin. It just works. Again, personally, I've had no bad experiences. So that's always going to add to the kudos and the reason I love what they do. Secondly, the service I've always received from Apple via chat when I've utilized it, via a phone call or two when I've made them, and in store has always been at that top level. I can't fault anybody I've ever dealt with in an Apple store. And I've been in a few in my lifetime. And, I've bought a lot of product over the years as well. I love what they do. I love the product. I love the quality. I love the whole ethos about the business. I am a raving fan. So Apple, you get 5 stars plus.
So everyone's different, right? Some people will despise Apple for a whole host of reasons, and some people will love them.
They don't know what they're talking about.
that image, right, of a Samsung, Nokia, and Apple. I wonder. Here's a challenge for you, lovely audience. Okay, on the back of that image, okay, what else could you put above those 3 students? Okay, if that was politics, what would it say above each one? If that was your business and your competition, for example, okay, would you be in the star position, and would your competition be looking on, kind of thinking, "Well, I wish we could do what they do," and who would be in the background? Just let us know. Let us know what your picture looks like. But if you do the right thing, okay, you stand a good chance. Okay, and it's not rocket science, is it? But it can go very, very wrong. Okay, in the days of influencers and social media, it's so easy to go online and moan about something. And I think the fact that it's so easy to do that, okay, and bad news really, really spreads fast. I think organizations have stepped up their game. Right, businesses seem to be at pains to be kind of looking after their customers better than they ever have, because it's so easy to complain across a very broad platform. And I still get emails, mate. I still get emails offering me, right, negative SEO, search engine optimization, for my competition, or poor Google reviews for my competition.
So let's just explain this. So you've got competition. They come to you. You pay them, and they go off and put a 1 star or no stars on somebody else's Google review.
Yeah.
That's poor
That's
performance.
that's an evil business, right? I imagine it's just
How much money you spent with them?
Hey, I've said it before. Someone gave my book a 3-star review. Right? Well, good on you. Good on you. Unfortunately, I just cannot find that review anywhere. Right? It's on there, right? Because it knocks down my average, but you just can't find it. You can't even find, such and such 3 stars. But someone somewhere in the system, I'd love to hear from them. What didn't you like? That's great, because I'm writing another one, and I'll put more of that in.
Signed copy. That's what you do. Next time they give you 4.5 stars because it's a signed version of it.
But it's so easy to see how you're doing. If you let's say you're an author and you're on Amazon, right? Easy to see how you're doing because it's there in star shapes. Okay, and all of their products, without looking at how many reviews are real, fake, whatever. Okay, most products these days have some form of review process. Okay, it doesn't have to be you're on stage, round of applause. It's your product being reviewed on many different platforms: 1 star, 2 star, 5 stars, etc., etc. And I think we just got to work continually hard to make sure our clients, certainly the people that matter to us, think we are 5 stars.
Because reputation is everything as well. We've got to make sure that we have that reputation. So go back to your story about CX. They've upset you. We've shared it. That might put other people off. It's a bit like an online review type of idea. How many stars has that product got or that book got? What's the feedback? And quite often when I buy something, I will filter through and try to make sense of the feedback that's being left, whether that's legit, verified, whether it's someone that maybe had a problem that wasn't dealt with. Doesn't mean the product's necessarily bad. It just means they had a bad experience at that time. And we all have our bad experiences. And sometimes that bad experience might not necessarily be the product or service. It might be just the individual that we spoke to, or the way we were treated, or the way a certain scenario was handled. But we have to make an educated assumption, an outcome of, do I buy that product? Do I buy that service? So reputation is everything, because all of a sudden, in the scenario of the CEX, they do something wrong. They've provided a bad reputation overview to you. You've shared that with everybody else, and that could put others off, and that could have a compound effect, which is huge. For the sake of £65 it would have been, if they would have just given you all your money back, not offer you 35 quid of it, they could be losing tens of thousands of pounds, if not more.
Yeah, well, we spoke about it in the past, the infamous Gerald Ratner, reputation destroyed overnight. Okay, said the wrong thing, but the reputation of him and the product, the stores that he represented, massively damaged. Very difficult to come back from something that dents your reputation that much. You've got to do. You can tune into any news channel any day of the year to find examples where reputation is being sliced apart. Okay, and very, very difficult to win raving fans if your reputation is in the gutter.
Yeah, if your reputation's in tethers, will you even survive? Go back to Gerald Ratner. One simple, well, I call it a mistake, and I'm sure he will refer to it as an error at the time, a mistake he made. And I know he, is a motivational speaker now. He talks a lot about, the timing was incorrect. It wasn't meant to harm anybody. It was meant to be kind of a bit more like an after dinner speech, a little bit funny, but it just didn't quite pan out that way and lost everything. But isn't this where Boris Johnson is, to go back to where we started at the beginning of the show? Reputational damage. Should he still be there as a leader? If this was your business, I said, if as a leader, would you not just time to stand down and move on? Do you think he's just now too, the whole Partygate scenarios, everything else that comes with it, the lying, the deceit from him and his party, individuals, not all, because there's some very good MPs out there, and well done to you that you're listening to your constituents and stuff like that. But shouldn't he be gone? Do we want someone that's going to lead the country that is dishonest with us? not telling us the truth. You wouldn't stand for it if you were working with somebody or you was in an organization. You'd either leave or you'd make sure that it's reported and they were probably leaving, resigning, or being fired.
So the implications are severe, aren't they? You know of ministers, and they are not being, let's say, warmly welcomed at present, right? So the implications. So it could be we could be talking about one person. We could be talking about a business leader. We could be talking about an Elon Musk, for example. But their kind of behavior, their attitude, their approach to running their business makes a massive difference to all of, let's say, the other workers within that business. So the implications are pretty severe. Okay,
very severe actually. Take that scenario.
Who wants to work for me, right? If I can't be trusted, or I don't conduct myself very well, or whatever it might be. If I'm not a very good leader, it would be very difficult for me to attract people to work on my behalf. Okay, you need raving fans in the business and outside of the business
and
as
outside, yeah. Unless they're, of course, they're yes men or yes ladies, or obviously refer to both, where it's all about furthering your own career. So I'm not gonna put any names out there. I'm just going to give scenarios here. But MPs that are obviously big, huge raving fans of Boris Johnson. I followed this on social media for a couple of different variations here of these MPs, and they had a number of followers where they posted, "I'm behind Boris. Let's just get this done and move on. He should stay. He's leading the country. He's devoted," and all of this. So they were basically backing him 100% before and after the vote. But their constituents underneath said, "I voted for you at the last election. You're my MP. I love what you did then, but I hate what you're doing now. And I will never vote for you or the party again." And this wasn't one comment, by the way. I had to scroll down hundreds of comments. And this wasn't people being vindictive. This was people expressing their feelings. And this is reputational damage. This is where I'm going back to where we were just talking. Reputational damage has been done. That party or that leader for that party in that constituents basically pinned their hopes on Boris and keeping their job and escalating up the food chain and becoming, or staying a minister or becoming a minister. I actually think it's done them damage because I don't think now they will keep their place at the next election. I know we're a way off from that, but people don't forget very easily. They know what should have happened. They've seen what hasn't happened. And this is the problem with any leader in a business and an organization. You do the damage now, people will not forget about it. And some people are like elephants. They never forget. Others will try to abridge next week, but most don't forget.
Yeah, I think there's lots of business stories, certainly that I remember, where the product or the organization has kind of lost its way, and it's had massive reputational damage. Business never recovers. Okay, we had loads of examples out there, and I think it's when you take your eye off the ball, right? The ball that is, you need to continually create your raving fans, look after your raving fans, and as soon as your focus slips away from that and becomes something else, then it's a very slippery slope. So who knows what will happen, mate? It's all very fickle out there. Who knows what the future will bring? Who knows what it will look like on Thursday morning?
Yeah, right? You could be talking about this individual, and he might no longer even be around. He may have been popped out the door and doing something very different. Writing a column or something like that for a newspaper, going back to old days. Who knows? But I think the point is here, we've got to do our best to create our own raving fans in our business, in our organization, whether it could be a charity. That's your supporters. They're the people that are going to fly the flag for you. And to me, it's all about how you treat people. That is the biggest thing. It's all about the experience that you provide, whether you're an experienced company or you're selling widgets. It doesn't make any difference. It's all about relationships. And it's my biggest tip. I've always said in business, when people say to me, David, what's your top business tip? I talk about relationships. Build them, develop them, and maintain them. And for me, that is how you create wonderful raving fans.
So a great top tip. I should make a note of it, and we'll put it in the chat box. Top tip business breakfast book that is bubbling away in the background. Very excited to talk about that in more detail in the weeks to come. So build relationships and maintain those relationships. What a lovely note to finish this kind of pre-recorded but live on a Thursday show. It feels a bit
still unscripted. Still unscripted and live if you're watching it, but we just happened to record it a few days ago. So it's still the same. We're the same people doing the same thing with a crystal ball because we're saying that Boris is gone on Thursday morning.
No, I think he'll still be there.
We'll see what happens.
One of us is going to be right.
There we go. So do give us your feedback. Do give us your comments. Do tweet us. Do pop a post into LinkedIn or Facebook. If you want to come on the show, because we obviously do invite our guests. And I know this has been a non-guest week this week, and that's just because we haven't had time to organise everything. But if you want to be a guest on one of our future shows, go to the website, chatboxproductions.com. Go to join the show and let us know who you are, what you do, why you do it. Maybe you agree with Nick and I. Maybe you disagree. We'd love to have you on here for your point of view, to share your stories, your knowledge and your experience. We've got lots of great future shows coming up. I think next week, Nick, we will be live. We'll be back live in the studio, and we're talking about international business. So there'll probably be a bit of touch on Brexit in there, but we're talking about how you can take your business to the next level and start trading on a global playing field, if that's what you choose to do, of course. Or maybe you're working with international businesses, buying product or service in and reselling or adding more value. So that's to come. What's that going to be? The 21st, something like that? June the 21st, Thursday the 21st. Anyway, there we go. Exciting.
Really live and unscripted. A future show, right?
Yeah, whenever it will be. It'll be on a Thursday morning and it'll be 8 o'clock. Anyway, that's it. That's it from me, David Bell and Mr. Nick Looby. Tuesday evening, it's time for dinner and probably time for you to wrap up your breakfast and get to work. So bye-bye from me.
Cheerio.